Every time. We need a handshake, by the way. I saw somebody the other day and they did a handshake and I was like, oh, that looks like so much fun. I want to have one. So we need to make up a handshake.
I thought we tried one time and it just didn't
You
stick.
tried and it was very confusing because it
has to
did
be
not
unique.
work.
It has to be like its own thing. You know what I mean? The only thing we do is the slate thing. That's all we have so far, which is basically a high five.
It is, but with a lot of attitude.
Yeah. Let's just jump in, yeah?
Okay.
Hey, everybody. My name is LeBron Arnois.
And I'm Jessica Height.
And welcome back to another episode of The Journey. Jess, what are we doing today?
Well, today we are going to be doing something a little bit different. We've been talking over the past, 9 episodes about our foundation of our journey, where we got started, how we met and started working together as partners, producer, singer, all the things. But going through this whole thing chronologically, y'all will never catch up.
Hear what we're doing now.
You will never hear anything about what we're actually doing in that moment. So when we finally get to tell you about what we're doing right now, we will have already surpassed that and won our Grammys and all the things that we're planning on doing, correct?
That's right.
I'm going to go ahead and put that out there. Recording Academy, we are ready. But we figured we'd go ahead and skip to the end, like the current
state, where we are present.
Where we are now.
Right.
And talk to you about what we do and kind of work backwards with that using some of the songs. Right now is a very good season. It's an exciting season. It's a learning season always.
Yeah, for sure.
But for this season in particular, we're getting, making good headway with our 2 companies.
Yeah.
A&A Production Studios, which I'm going to let you talk about in a minute.
Okay.
And then Writing Rounds, which I'll talk a lot about. And then we'll just tag team all that stuff too. So this is just, call this the Ketchup episode.
The Ketchup. People ask us all the time, where did A&A Production Studios?
I even had to ask about 2 years into working with you on it.
Where did the name come from? What does it mean? My dad said, we're going to call it A&A Production Studios because in my intermediate family, all my parents and me and my brother, our first and last names are all A's. My first name, I'm going to reveal some information to you all that you all may not know.
Y'all should feel very special. No one gets this explanation.
My first name is not LeBron. That's my middle name. I went by LeBron my whole life. People thought, since LeBron James, you're going to...
Are you going to tell?
I am. I'm getting there.
Really? I'm just surprised. Go ahead.
Should I not tell it?
No, please.
So my father's name is Alvin, and that's also my first name, Alvin. So me and my dad have the same initials, A-L-A, and my mom and my brother have the same initials, A-D-A. So the A&A comes from our family's first and last name, A&A Production Studios. So that's where the name came from. So when it came time, I was like, you know what? I'm really going to jump out of this boat, and I'm going to try to walk on water, and I'm going to start a company called A&A Production Studios. So when I did do that, there was no question in my mind what the name was going to be. And it was A&A Production Studios. So shout out, Dad, for planting that seed in me. Shout out to all my family who's been so supportive. Anyway, that's another episode. But in A&A Production Studios, we are a production company, full service production company. We take your song from conception to completion. We bring a song idea, we take it through the recording process, and we deliver you a finished, finalized, mastered song. I am the production manager at A&A Production Studios, and Jessica is the director of operations at A&A Production Studios, and that's in short how things came to be. We're running 2 businesses now, so we're split, and we service artists, churches, venues with musicians and singers if they're needing some, called the Service Roster. So under A&A, we have a company called Service Roster who we work with Ronnie Longoria, who's part of our team, who's amazing. Phenomenal teacher, musician, producer, songwriter, all the things.
Dad.
New dad. So all the things. So anyway, that's A&A in short.
And if you are a musician or a singer, you should probably jump on that roster. Go ahead and apply. We'll let you know. I came to LeBron a while back after I started this stuff with Writing Rounds, and I was like,
2020.
Was it 2020?
2020.
It was. That's
Pandemic,
right.
as we were shut down.
That's right. I was actually an elementary school teacher. So when everything shut down, first of all, everybody learned how important of a role a teacher has because their kids were at home all day long. y'all don't even know the half that we dealt with every single day. But all my kids there, we were Zooming all the time to teach. And as soon as I clocked out from that, actually sometimes while I was doing that, I was doing all the riding around things of just this snowball effect that happened with a few riders jumping on Zoom. This was before they had the Zoom rooms, before you could run several rooms all at one time. This is when you had one Zoom account. So me and good old Nick Traylor, Steve Davis, Drew Scott, we started running. I bought 4 or 5 different Zoom accounts, and they'd each run one to let people come in and write and just teach and learn and all the things. We're gonna have to have a whole episode on just
throwbacks, man.
Riding rounds in general, how it started, because it's a very cool story. I brought it to LeBron when he got to a certain stage, and I was like, listen, what if A&A was a part of what we do? What if you taught things? What if you taught the production side? What if, you taught the musicians? You helped out with Ableton and Pro Tools and all the other softwares that are out there. And we had that, what was round 4?
Yeah, round 4.
So round 1, 2, and 3, we would write every Friday, first 3 Fridays of the month. That 4th Friday, typically the last one, was round 4. And that was when LeBron, A&A Productions, would come in and teach something, yeah. Because as songwriters, there's so much more to just writing lyric and melody. There is a whole lot that follows after that.
Sorry, y'all, truck just drove by.
I was like, what is happening in my ears? I thought it was... Anyway, with riding rounds now, it has grown into a whole operation. I don't even... in my mind, I'm overwhelmed trying to think of where to start that we do. First things first, we write songs.
At the bottom base.
That is what we do. And we don't just write songs with people that are well established and know what they're doing or have been doing this for years. We write in any genre with people on any level, with any level of experience, and from anywhere. That whole first year it was online until we decided we were going to meet in person for the first time.
Lord, you've been so good. I know that you got me. Lord, you've been so good. I know that you got me. Lord, you've been so. Lord, you've been so. Because I have been lost before and you found me. I've been sick before and you healed me. I've been down and poor. He's got you and he's got me and he's been good. Lord, you've been so good. Lord, you've been so good. He's got you and he's got me and we never gon' lose.
At that time, it wasn't called a Riding Rounds experience, but it was a Riding Rounds experience.
Did we call it anything?
We called it the community retreat.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So everything that whole first year was free.
We didn't know if we was going to come.
Yeah, we were just like, let's just get it and see. When we opened it up, well, we had to turn people away at the end. And we packed these 2 houses. I feel like I'm getting on a totally different topic. 2 houses. Team had a house, but there were 2 houses side by side. And if you can compare that house,
well, it was 3 houses because we taught in the team house. We had like the learning session there.
You're right. We did teach there. That was like the production house. Or
correct.
The teaching
we
house.
taught Ableton, Pro Tools, and Logic.
All in that house. And then in the other 2 houses that were literally side by side with each other, we taught songwriting, we taught publishing, all the logistics and business side of music.
And that weekend of our very first retreat was when we released our very first song.
Instrumental.
Out
today. Are you satisfied even just a little?
Hey.
Don't want you to settle, but would you meet me in the middle? You know who else is on that song?
Yeah, you are.
Me. I'm on that song too. It's so good. LeBron Arnwine, Precious Tankard, Brendan Lee, and Dominate as a Chukwu. I guess that's her name, right?
Sorry.
They wrote and killed this song. A&A Productions produced it, did a fantastic job because LeBron always does a great job. Stream it. Follow us on Spotify.
Download
subscribe on YouTube. Share it with everybody and their mama. And just...
And it's actually not an instrumental. It has lyrics.
There are a lot of lyrics.
When I first heard the song, I was like, man, this is a lot of words for an instrumental.
But the cool thing is, like it says paradiddle.
Yes.
Like it has so many like musical references. I didn't know what a paradiddle was.
What is a
It's
paradiddle?
a drum thing.
It's like, but it's so cool.
Paradiddle. Is that it?
I feel like we're getting onto the Writing Rounds experience stuff, and that's always fun for me because I could talk about it for such a long
We're probably
time.
giving y'all. We're gonna break all this stuff down.
It is a very big part of what we do now, but I just need you to understand that this did not start out in person. This started very much so across the world, online, internet, all the virtual things. Now it's still a foundation of what we do, but we get these opportunities to meet together in person. So over the last 3 years, I don't even know how many places we've been or things that we've held in person, but our Writing Rounds experiences is what we call them now. So that's one of the big things that we do. The other thing we do is we have Writing Rounds Music, which is the label that we created. It's what we call a songwriting label, not an artist label. We get emails all the time with people like, how do I get signed with your label? You join the community and you write songs, and then your songs may get signed underneath our label. So we house the songs. That's pretty much what it does. Now, our Writing Rounds Music label does have two sides to it. We have the faith-based side of music that we release, and then we have the what's the word I'm thinking of?
General
market side that we release. And wow, there's a lot of things that we do, because underneath the faith-based side is Writing Rounds Worship. Shout out to all the members of Writing Rounds Worship. This is a collective of artists that have been a part of our community that record and travel and sing all the songs written by our community.
Yeah, absolutely.
The songs we put out are always written with our community. We pitch to different artists. We
write for different artists.
We teach. We have what we call now the Writing Rounds Academy. We do one-on-one solo rounds is what we call. And then also classes. We have classes and possibly coming up some mentorships this year.
Yeah.
But again, like that feels like it still didn't even scratch the surface of what we do.
So to tie this into our journey, to let us know how, when we started working together 9 years ago this year, we just wanted to put music out. Had no idea to look down the road to see that I would start a production company. She would start a writing label. I mean, we didn't know that's what it was then, but to say it now, people have told me, or like people that's been in the industry a long time, and you ask questions like, how do you get started? They always say, you got to just do more. It's not about making money. It's not about getting out here. People need to know what you do. And it was a great fit for us in our journey because she was writing songs, I was making music. Those two things go together. So I remember the conversation we had. We were here. I had just moved into this house. She said, LeBron, this thing, it's kind of growing and we got to put some type of something together.
I remember it. It was in this house.
Yep.
And I was sitting at a little round table and I was so nervous because I thought he was going to say no. But he always told me, Jessica, the worst thing somebody could tell you is no. You might as well go ahead and ask.
At that point in time, too, she helped me in a lot of ways because in my past, I've been very close-fisted, not because I don't trust, but I know how I like things. And I know, and at that time, it's so weird to think about this now because back then I was everything. I was bookkeeper, this person, you do all of it. So it was hard for me to let somebody else come in because it's not like, doing it as efficient as I want it to happen. Yep. But she told me one day, she said, LeBron, the only way we're going to grow is if you allow people to come in and help. And it took me a minute to get there. Now it's like, I don't do nothing like I used to do no more. I'm like,
you want to do something?
Yeah.
Here.
You're right. I don't want to do none of it. So Writing Rounds, we co-own and run Writing Rounds at 8% Studios. And we also co-own and run. But those companies are partner companies that do all the things. So it was a unique, really good fit for where we were. And you know what I'm saying? So it's been a blessing to see, where we started with no intention of any of this. We're better together. Collaboration is a beautiful thing. Find people who are on the journey with you that are ready to push and ready to grind it out. Because you can really do some really cool things. So it's been cool to see. So our journey, we just kind of told you in the past episodes where we started. We're telling you now where we currently are. And so we're going to take some time to tell you all the in-between as time goes.
The past 9 episodes, we have titled all of these based on the song that we're going to release on SoundCloud. If you haven't checked out the SoundCloud playlist, go do it today
Still
after
more
this
to
episode.
Come. More
Not
to
yet.
come.
But we are still going to put out songs with the episodes. They just may not be something that we're talking about the entire episode. We want to get down to the topics that you guys want to talk about, and we want to use those songs as teaching tools to be able to do that. What was I going to say? Oh,
yeah.
Want to leave you with 2 things. This whole point of this episode is really just catch you up and encourage you. Okay. So 2 things, and I'm going to let LeBron take the second one. Don't worry, I'll set you up really good.
I don't know where she's going.
One, when we started this, like he said, we had an idea in our mind of what we wanted to do in music. Had we not taken that long journey, had we not made the mistakes that we've made, had we not met the people that we met and worked with the people we've worked with, whether good or bad, we would not have the tools and the knowledge in the way we did to teach people what we do now. We pride ourselves at Riding Rounds Academy, whether a solo round or whether a class, that we're not just teaching from facts or things we found on the internet or things that are just very, you should know this. We're teaching from an experience side of things. We want to teach from that perspective of, here's what we've learned, the information we've gathered. Even that's to say, all this is wrong, don't do this, so that people know what to avoid. We want to help people make their journey a little bit easier, or if they're going to have tough things, don't let it be repeats of what we've made. New things, discover new things. Had we not been through the past 6 years before Riding Rounds, we wouldn't have been equipped in the way we were to do what we needed to do at that point. We didn't know what this was leading up to, and I still don't. This is not the end. Riding Rounds, I feel like there's stuff even more coming after that. It's just, this is another season, another step in the journey. LeBron's a very good encourager. He is a very good encourager. And so maybe two pieces of advice that you give for the people that are doing stuff day in, day out, just like, I'm doing what I think I'm supposed to do, but I'm not moving fast. I'm not going anywhere. So anything you have on that end.
Yeah, that's very good. I think you actually said it in one of the episodes. You said to beware of the blow up. And that is extremely profound, because if you blow up overnight, you haven't learned the lessons that others who had to take the long road have learned. So I think you also said, she said all these things. She said, if you have bypassed the process and you get on the mountaintop and then something happens and you're not on the mountain, especially in the music industry, it's opinion and it's fickle. The minute you're irrelevant again, nobody talks about you anymore. So when you fall off of that mountain, you're going to fall all the way down to the bottom of where you built.
That's right.
But if you take the long way, not that the long way is always wonderful and great, because it's not going to be, but you've done all the things. You've built up what you need to build up. You've learned, you've grinded, you've sacrificed, you've not just like in money, but in your time and your energy and people. When you hit the mountaintop, you're only going to fall back to the level that you've built. You know what I'm saying? So you're not that far away. When people say, I've been writing songs for 10 years, we've been doing this for an extremely long time, okay? And we are just now, almost a decade later, starting to see the fruit of our labor. All them times we're sitting in these rooms writing songs when nobody's listening. There's no audience. There's no camera around, ain't nothing. It's just an idea because we're passionate about it. Yeah. But we knew that we had a calling to it. We wanted to do it. We had a drive. So we stuck with it. Many arguments, many disagreements, many frustrations. She don't want to talk to me. I won't talk to her. However, we know that we're serving a purpose that we believe is bigger than us. And now we see the benefit of all the hard work, all the process. So if you're that person hanging in there like, man, I can't do this another day. A lot of times we get most discouraged when we're right at the door of getting to that next level, to turn in the corner, to elevate to that next place. Don't give up yet. You know what I mean? If you're looking for a place to kind of stretch out and have things to be heard, come see us.
Yeah,
we have a community of people that are just like you and me, with families, with kids, with jobs, and they need that creative outlet. I've been doing this. I'm never going to have time anymore. My life is crazy. We've created a space just for you. And that wasn't even the pitch. I'm just being honest with you about all of it.
Yeah, I was about to say, we live this. So I feel like our constant pitches are really just us saying, we're trying to help you, man. Like, we've learned, and this is the way, When you find something good, you want to talk about it all the time. I almost wanted to minister for a minute, but I
feel like I'm a walking, talking ad for A&A and Riding Rounds.
We're Riding Rounds evangelists.
Literally.
Be consistent. Mm-hmm. Don't be afraid to ask questions. There's nothing wrong with not knowing things. There is a problem with not knowing and never asking. That's a problem. And find a community. Nobody does this by themselves. Nobody. I don't care who you're looking at. Nobody did that by themselves. But the community side of things helps you stay grounded in the fact that not only do you need help and other people have things that you may need, but also you have to keep others in mind. If your goal and your vision and your calling has nothing to do with other people being affected by it, you need to really reevaluate what your calling is. There should always be a serving side of whatever it is that you're called to do. Who am I affecting and how can I do that better? And that goes for more than just music. That's anywhere. It's a tough industry. It just is. Whether you're on the Christian side, general market, whatever, it is a tough industry.
I'm a person, I don't necessarily like going into rooms just to network and rub shoulders and like, who can I connect with
It's
to
awkward.
get me to, you know what I mean? So when you get invited into rooms, don't go in there eyes all big like, oh, who's this person? Let me try to get a picture. Let me try to get a number. Let me try to yada, yada, yada. People that's been doing it for a long time can smell that from a mile away.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But you get to a room, first of all, I'm not saying be arrogant, but if you're there, it's for a reason. You belong there. You know what I mean? Be confident, but also walk in humility. You know what I mean? It's an honor to be in any space because you didn't have to get the invitation.
Don't bring your journal full of questions.
Yeah.
Please don't.
Just connect and see who you can build a genuine relationship with, because if you're there for a reason. And sooner or later, you'll be able to have the opportunity to share your gift, to share why you're there, who you are. And then that opens the door like, oh man, they were cool people. It makes it easier to communicate.
And some of the people that have those doors that you're needing to walk through, the keys to those are usually held by the people that are quietly sitting in the back of the room, not really trying to be seen or whatever. Like, you have no idea who you're talking to. Yes, you want to get somewhere. Yes, you want to build relationships and in a sense, climb a ladder. That's everybody's wanting to do that. Who wants to stay on the bottom? Nobody. However, if that is your only motive for having a conversation, that's what he means, is that they can smell that. We've met people and created friendships and relationships to the point where they cared and were invested in what we were doing, and that's when what they have to offer can come into play. That could take years, or it could be 5 minutes. You don't know. But just be aware, don't knock somebody just because they're just now starting in songwriting. That person may write the next hit that takes off and is like #1 on Billboard for however many weeks. You don't know. It doesn't always go by longevity, who's done it the longest.
All that's irrelevant to what we were talking about. The main thing, we wanted to tell y'all where we was at now in our journey so you can see, what we're doing now.
We love what we do.
And so we talk about it because we're
All
passionate.
the time.
If you want to know more about it, we can just ask us the questions and we'll tell you everything you want to know. Anyway, hey, we're glad you joined us this week for this week's episode of The Journey. My name is LeBron Arnwine.
And I'm Jessica Heights.
I said that so lame. LeBron Arnwine.
Arnwine.
And we'll see you next time on The Journey. Peace.
Oh, it's kind of dramatic.
Oh, you hold it in.
Dramatic.
Hold here.
What song was that? This guy.
Daughter, I made it.
You made it.
Long time. I need a
I saw you got. I like them.
Oh, these ones.
Come on, shoe.
These old ones. These old ones they talking about nothing.
You need help?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see you in a
Listen,
minute.
you don't worry about it.
All right.
I'm ready to build the house there. Let's come back here.
Now.
That did some work.
Yeah, did some work.
What?
Some like cinnamon.
Quite a bit of work.
So what was the deal?
There was a bachelor.
It was 420 yesterday.
Oh, yeah. You know, I didn't
And it was a
know
bachelor.
Yeah.
Is that what that all?
Yeah.
Oh, they did that.
They stole furniture. I didn't know that till this morning. They stole furniture. Like these chairs were, I guess, in bedrooms upstairs, and they stole furniture. They were terrible people.
That's the elevator in here. Shoot.